60, right?
I don't feel like it.
Yeah, and he was a physical massage therapist. But and
Doing a Chinese Tuina massage therapy.
China massage therapy. And we are here. We have Roger. He is a new member for 2 months. And Ioana know their friend and knew this product, and then she's very serious taking and very serious now. Make a note every time we have a meeting. And introduce.
We can just listen to Michael. Go ahead, Michael. Tell us your story.
How many people do we have on?
Now have our here.
Several, about 10.
Okay.
All different locations, but we work
Different
from
locations.
one angle. Yeah.
Do you want me to speak in Chinese, Spanish, or English?
English.
I'm kidding. So, first of all, hey, happy Sunday to everybody. It's remarkable to be able to come to you live like this with the way that technology is with the Zoom. When I started in the industry, we did cassette tapes. This is how we communicated back in the day. And this is actually a network marketing cassette tape, and we had to purchase these, and that was the only way that we could actually communicate back and forth. You know, the industry has changed so much, and I was fortunate when I got in the network marketing way back in the day, but I was unfortunate in the aspect that I didn't have great mentorship to lead me in the direction that I needed to go, because it was very challenging. Back in the day, you bought a bunch of product. You stored it in a room, and you tried to find other people to buy a bunch of product, and they ended up storing it in the room because most people are not salespeople. Number one, the number one sales position, or the number one paid position in the world, is a salesman. But most people don't like to be a salesperson. And when you look deeper, most people don't like to be sold. They like to buy, but they don't like to be sold. So through the trials and errors of my business of learning network marketing, I still stayed as a massage therapist all these years. I've been doing massage therapy for 43, almost 44 years. I've been in the martial arts. There's one of my pictures here of me doing a kick.
Wow.
And I really, really love this industry because it gives you freedom. It gives you choices. And by having freedom and choices, see, most people, well, let me just say, in network marketing, if you don't understand network marketing, here's what most people do. They think they understand what network marketing is. And what they think they understand about network marketing is that it's one of those pyramid things. It's the person at the top that makes all the money. You've got to be a salesman. I don't want to go out and sell to my friends and family. You heard the word sell. I don't know enough people. I don't have the money. You hear all these different reasons. The bottom line is they don't understand the industry. But what they think they do, they think they understand the industry because back in the day, again, they've heard the story after story of people having to have all these products. And when someone, let's take a plumber, for example. You have a plumber that's been doing plumbing for all these years. And, hey, Roger, the light came on there. I see that.
Yeah, I just took my NSA piece of tape off my camera.
But, you know, people, let's say a plumber all of a sudden gets convinced, I'm going to use the word convinced, to get into a network marketing company. And then all of a sudden, Bob is a little bit overweight, Bob the plumber. And so I wasn't talking about you, Roger. And Bob is a little bit overweight, doesn't know a darn thing about vitamins, hasn't seen a vitamin since his mother gave him one of those little Flintstones vitamins back in the early days. And then all of a sudden, Bob's a vitamin salesman. And then he goes to his friends and family and says, I got these great vitamins, and we're all going to get rich. And they're looking at Bob going, Bob, did you forget that you're a plumber? I don't want anything from you. That's how it was in those days. So people stockpiled all this product. But if you look at where we are today in the technology, how much product do we carry in LifeVantage? And if you're on this call and you haven't seen any of the information, first of all, I just want to say welcome. And this is an industry that is a $200 billion with a B billion-dollar industry, and 40% of all revenue of that $200 billion. Now we're talking network marketing globally. $200 billion is paid back to the distributors. Now, so let's say that 200, so $80 billion is paid back to distributors. Now, let's say that the person at the top, as they say, makes all the money. So let's take the top 5%. So what is that? $7-8 billion out of the $80 billion. So no, actually, yeah, about that. And so the rest of that money is paid to the average person. But here's the thing about LifeVantage. Number one, we have a product that every single human being and animal absolutely needs. You can't get the product anywhere else except through another LifeVantage distributor. We have 23 published peer-reviewed studies. We have a few more studies that are going to be coming up soon. We've got 13 patents. We are now in 19 countries. And because of the technology that we have, we don't have to be salespeople. And because of the way that the world is with technology, we don't have to carry product. When someone says, Michael, I want to buy some product from you, I say, great, let's go to my website and I'll order it for you. They say, well, don't you have the product to sell me? And I'll say, no, I don't carry product. And they'll say, well, why don't you carry product? I thought you sell Protandim. And I tell them, no, and this is very important to understand. I don't sell Protandim. I share information about what Protandim does for people. And if it resonates with you, then you can go to my website and you could purchase it. For the same price, I purchase it. And that's called opportunity. A little bit more about my background. I'm married for almost 18 years, and you can see this is my son right here, who in the next few days will be 8 months old. And yes, I am 60 years old. My wife and I own a hair salon. She's a hairstylist. You can tell I don't have hair to cut. And my background of doing massage therapy for years and years and years, if I didn't have a body in front of me, I wasn't making money. If I didn't have a student in front of me studying the martial arts, I wasn't making money. So I was trading time for money. And if you think of the average person, think of their grandparents. Their grandparents traded time for money. Your parents traded time for money. You, I say you as a global, as people that live in life in the United States and where else, most people trade time for money. Unless you're a musician, you get residual income. Unless you see all the books behind me, the people that wrote those books behind me, every time one of those books sold, they made residual income. Or insurance person, they make residual income. But someone that goes to work like Bob the plumber, when he clocks in, he's getting paid. When he clocks out, he's not getting paid. Does that make sense, everybody, so far?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, Roger. There we go. So, you know, how do you go to somebody and say, hey, look, I've got this new opportunity for you? Or if you go to somebody and say, I got these vitamins for you and we're going to get rich, they're going to think, no way this will even work. Because in someone's head, see, I always have to think about the new person's head. In someone's head is, A, can they do this? And number two is, I don't want to sell vitamins. But what we're really doing, when I talk to people, I'm always talking about sharing information. And when I say, hey, listen, I've got something you got to see. What is it? It has to do with an ABC investigative report that in also what we're doing is we're biohacking DNA. This is incredible. Here's the word, information. You've got to see this information. Well, what is it about? I want you to see this like I did. So that puts somebody in a space of interest. But if you start using the words products or business, most people, you'll make them go way back. You want people to lean forward. You want people to go, what is this about? You know, so through the life that I've been doing network marketing, and I've been in a couple of really good companies where I had great products. But if you don't have leadership of a company, a great product, a great compensation plan, the right timing, and the right system in place, it will fall apart. And I've seen it time and time and time again that happen. With LifeVantage, everything is in place. I've been in this company for 7.5 years, coming up onto 8 years. My wife told me if I did another one of these businesses or another one of these things, she would divorce me. She's Hispanic and she meant it. But when she saw what the science was to this, and she saw what the product was, because she's an athlete as well as I am, she took the product, but she didn't understand and didn't believe what the industry was, because she saw me always selling and convincing products, selling and convincing products, selling and convincing products, because the companies that I were in, all other companies, had other products that were very similar. So why am I going to tell somebody that this is better than anything? Like this, for example, no, this is alcohol, but you know what this is, Bai Ming? This is called Jiao. This is a 3,000-year-old Chinese liniment. But
Wow.
you can even find this in online. There's a lot of people that actually sell it. No one has this recipe. And I could have probably made a network marketing company out of it, but I wouldn't dare do that because my grandmaster up in heaven would probably strike me down somehow. So that's something that's really sacred. But the fact is that everybody's got something that compares to somebody else's products. So if you want to be in the business of selling and convincing, you're in a business of sales. But when you have something like NRF1, that repairs dysfunctional mitochondria, that nobody else has an NRF1 like what we have. We will have an exorbitant amount of science, and if you go to PubMed and read about it, you can read for days now, because there's over 1,000 studies on NRF1. NRF2, what cleans up the debris, and there's 190,000 studies on that. And when I joined 7.5 years ago, there were 68,000 studies. We have a probiotic that cleans the small intestine and large intestine appropriately, that does not open up in the stomach, because we have a patent called BioTrack that allows it to bypass the stomach and goes to where it needs to be. We have this, just things that are in front of me, a cleanse, 2 pills in the morning, 2 pills at night, and it and that cleanse cleans the bad flora that's inside your small intestine and large intestine, but doesn't clean it all like a lot of these cleansers that really rub everything out of there, and it's not good for you. And we have an omega-3 that is from the time the fish is caught to the time it's capsulated, and I have it in this packet here. You can see the omega-3. By the time it gets put into this capsule, it's only 6 hours. Because how many of you have taken fish oil in the past, and throughout the day you're burping the taste of fish. It's horrible. Let me ask you, would you bite into one of those? Probably not. But try biting into one of these, and it tastes like lemon lime. Because of the process, most fish oil is caught on these giant barges, and they're sprayed with hot steam, and the hot steam drops down and creates the oil to go down into these barges out in sea. And the oil sits there for 2 days and becomes rancid. Then they heat it again to extract the EPA and the DHA out of it. And then all of a sudden, then they capsulate it, and they're capsulating rancid oil already. What we have, this is phenomenal. That's great brain food. And of course, our Axio energy drink, which is smart energy for the brain. And my wife, through her entire pregnancy, drank 3 Axios, and she drank 3 of these red raspberries every single day. And I ask people, and I'll say this, and this is how I start when I'm talking to people. So remember this. I'll say, hey, Bob, let me ask you a question. And when I do that, it makes somebody lean forward. Like, what? Because when you're asking somebody a question, they want to answer that. I'd say, if you knew, if your spouse was pregnant, or your sister was pregnant, or if you're a woman that I was speaking to, and I'd say, if you were pregnant, would you drink 3 Rockstars, Red Bulls, or Monsters, or 5-hour energy drinks? And they'd say, well, of course not. But my wife drank 3 of these every single day through her entire pregnancy. And as a matter of fact, now that my son is eating foods, he's only eaten organic foods. He's never ate store-bought foods whatsoever. We only give him we make the food for himself. He's over 23 pounds already, but he drinks Axio now. He drinks the red raspberry, and he is strong. He's doing gymnastics at 7 months plus. He's doing swimming, and he's doing well. Of course, he cannot swim on his own, and of course, he can't do gymnastics, but he's in these classes and becoming very familiar. But the thing is that his body is so strong. He has never had a stomach issue, and we've introduced certain things to him. But he's had Protandim through his entire cycle of being in my wife's stomach because of her taking Protandim, and through breastfeeding. My wife breastfed for 4 of the months, so 4 months he has not breastfed now. But 4 of those months, he was still on Protandim. So this stuff is so good for people. So what we have is a system, and I think that LifeVantage hit a home run with the Vitality Stack, because I have, in 7 years, I have over almost 33,000 people on my team, generating about almost $1 million a month. Now, you'll understand this when you talk to who brought you on, but balance has a lot to do with it. That's why I'm not a Master Pro 10 yet. But I'm working on my other teams because I'm raising the other levels. But this Vitality Stack, and especially these packets, how easy is it to grab a pack and run? Or fiddling with the bottles, it's a lot more challenging. $150 a month to almost, and I can't, we don't say we treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate, but to put you in a much, much healthier space in your life by, again, if somebody, and I want to say this, if somebody was to say to you, well, I only want to take one of the Protandims, NRF1 or NF2, which one should I take? Let me ask you, Roger, what would you suggest?
Oh, I would suggest the yellow pill.
Why?
Well, I guess that's the flagship thing, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right, and let me answer that, because if somebody was to take, well, we take our staple product as my what? Oh, hold on, I have to come in here with my little Mateo. You're gonna love this. Mateo's so he's already grown a mustache. Watch.
Wow. Hello.
Look, he has a mustache.
Oh,
Hi, Mateo. Who's that, Mateo? Who's that?
oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Hello.
Watch this. He does it. Well,
Yeah.
now he's a little gunch. Look.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
But look how strong, and he's a solid kid. He's
Yeah.
he's a long kid too. He's very strong. This is the greatest thing in the world. See, Papa, Papa, say Papa, huh, Papa. See.
Yeah, he's only 7 months old. Okay.
Well, on the 26th, he'll be on the 26th. Thank you, sweetheart. On the 26th, he'll be 8 months old. So
Okay.
on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah, for those, Michael, sorry, for those who getting on later, and then they won't understand this. Okay, just I want to capture a little bit. This is little cute baby, is only about 8 months, and when his mom got pregnancy, so during the whole entire pregnancy, mother took the Axial, the energy drink. Okay. So that's, and also NIF2. All right. So after 17 years of marriage, and Michael at the age of 60, and the first strong, cute, healthy, lovely, adorable son. All right. So for those, be late, I just capture a little bit. Okay. Michael, continue.
yeah, and so I mean, what I say, I always say that you want to know what your why is. Well, I knew what my why was before, but Mateo, that's where my why begins. At 60, think of 60, being a first-time daddy, I was petrified to bringing a child into this world because as a massage therapist, I knew financially I couldn't do it, and I didn't want to depend on the state to fund me because I had a child. And a lot of people in the country live like that. But I've put myself in a position that I'll share a little bit later that I'm comfortable. But let me go back to this. So the NRF2, which is our staple product with 23 peer-reviewed studies, cleans up the rust, cleans up the oxidative stress. And that's what somebody should start with first, no matter what, especially if they have a lot of unhealthy stuff. Clean the stuff up first. Then incorporate the NRF1, which is doing the repairing of the dysfunctional mitochondria. Mitochondria is the building block of our cells that creates ATP, which is the energy of our cell, and it's called adenosine triphosphate. So if you were to take the NRF1, it will create even more oxidative stress, and it can make you sick. So if you're taking the NRF2 and then incorporating the NRF1, you're repairing this dysfunctional mitochondria. And by the way, each cell in our body has thousands, if not tens of thousands of mitochondria. And mitochondria actually has its own DNA. And if you were to extract all of the mitochondria out of your body, it equates to about 10% of your body weight. So just think, if you can have, just think of this for a moment. You take an old photograph and it's fuzzy, and you stick it in a copy machine. Does the photograph get better the more times you copy that? Of course not. Well, as we have our cells duplicate, they're duplicating dysfunctional mitochondria. Mitochondria doesn't repair itself on its own. It depletes. But what NRF1 does, it repairs the dysfunction of mitochondria. So as you're repairing that mitochondria, it's becoming it's like the photograph becoming clearer, clearer, and clearer. And the NRF2 is removing the rust out of it. You're putting your body in a state where we don't say we cure cancer, but when you repair dysfunctional mitochondria, it can eliminate cancer from ever starting. Now, that's not talking about Protandim. That's talking about the mitochondria in the body. It is so powerful. So, but having this stacked together, so where your brain, your number one brain really isn't this. Your number one brain is your gut. It may not think, but it is what controls everything, including your brain. So when you can repair the mitochondria, you can clean the rust, you can have friendly bacteria in the gut and make a healthier gut with the probiome inside there, and have the omega-3 for brain function and the essential fatty acids, using the Axio as for brain cognitive awareness and natural stimulation, and on top of that, the True Science, this stuff. Now look, if I look closer, you don't see a lot of wrinkles on my face, even on my head. I've been an athlete outside for all my life, and let me tell you, living in Southern California, my wife still yells at me for not putting SPF on. But this stuff has the NRF2 in it as well. Whoops, there it goes. I almost hit my dog. And it's the only product in the United States that has the NRF2, period. There are a lot of companies out there that make all kinds of claims about everything about their skincare. But the most important thing you need with skincare is having NRF2. When you have NRF2 on the outside, which is our largest organ, NRF2 on the inside, that's a win-win situation. And there's one company, I always forget the name of it, but there's one company that is in Europe that has an NRF2 inside their product. It does not have the science we have by any means, but they're using it because they know that NRF2 is a buzzword. But literally, there are no products out there that does what our products do. And the properties of our skincare is antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and anti-aging. Go to YouTube and type in LifeVantage before and after, and you'll see results of people that use the True Science before and what it looks like after, as well as the weight loss, the weight maintenance products. But my wife was, again, going back to my story, my wife was not on board with this. But 5 years ago, I'm a musician. I had 17 guitars, and I had to sell most of all my guitars. And if I turn this a little bit, you see some of my guitars sitting over there. I had 17 guitars, and I had to sell most of them because I could not afford to live. I had to, and it's embarrassing, but it's my story. I had to borrow money. I had to borrow money because I couldn't afford to live as a massage therapist. But I believed in the industry of network marketing. And when people said, Michael, you're crazy for doing this, it's not a real business. You're a snake oil salesman. You're a pyramid guy, you know. You're wasting your time. Get a real job. They said all kinds of other can't say the word, but expletives, there we go, that are not nice. And I put horse blinders on because I knew what this technology was when I saw that ABC investigative report when I first joined this thing. And I said, there's something big on this. And I didn't listen to the naysayers. And I focused. And I focused, and I focused, and I started building a team. I started building networks of people, and I have people in 10 countries that are sharing this information, not selling products. And because of that, it's put me in a position as a Pro 8, and if you go look at the income disclosure statement, I'll just say it like this. The average Pro 8 earns an average of $22,000 a month. So think about this. How many massages do you think I would have to do to earn $22,000 a month? Now, we just had LifeVantage Academy over this past weekend, and I hope you all made it to it because it was all over the United States. And myself and our team flew out an incredible man named Bert DuBrois. Bert DuBrois is a cowboy from Colorado. He's an elite Pro 9. He's got the most amazing laugh in the world. Matter of fact, I just got back from taking him to the airport, and he stayed at my house for the past few days, and we had a great time. We work with his team out here. We work with my team out here. We work together in synergy. I also want to say something else, that the way that this industry is, and it's kind of sad, because if somebody else is on my team, wants to go look at somebody else's or products, go for it. If you think that it's grass is greener on the other side, and I say good luck. But we had an appointment, 2 distributors that I won't say their names, and they had somebody else from a company called Amway. They don't call themselves Amway. There's another name that they're using because they don't use the word. And look, Amway is the company that laid the groundwork. They're over 60-year-old company, and they have incredible products doing over $13 billion a year. But I just want to lay out the differences of what we are. So this person is a dog trainer and was working with a couple of my distributors, and his sponsor, and he's doing okay with his Amway business. This dog trainer, he's 22 years old. He's making as much money with his Amway business that he is with his dog training. But his mother has breast cancer. And so he was coming over to my house yesterday so we can share about the product. And I already knew we weren't going to try to convince him to get into our business. But we were absolutely going to share how this can possibly help his mother. And his sponsor in Amway told him, do not go and listen to anything they have to say. To me, and I'm just speaking from personally, that's a sad thing, because the person that was my distributor said, you know what irritates me more than anything is his sponsor is denying his mother to possibly have some health that can help change her life. Now, again, we don't say we treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate anything. But LifeVantage is not like that. Bert DuBrois, an Elite Pro 9, is not on my team. We worked together helping one another with other people that weren't part of either one of our teams. That's the beautiful thing. And we know that the grass is not greener on the other side in this company. And I'm being honest with you because that's the way I am. And I've watched some people that are at my rank walk away from this thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And 6 months, a year later, they realized that it wasn't. When you have something that every single human being and animal absolutely needs with the science to prove it, we don't need to sell it. We share information. And by sharing that information, you build networks. By building networks, you build dreams. By building dreams, you give people choices. When you give people choices, they have more control of their life. And I get to be the one raising my son with my wife, and we do have a nanny. But here's the thing, I can afford to pay a nanny. That's beautiful. That puts me in a position of comfort, because 5 years ago, there was no comfort. It was very, very difficult. And here's something else, because I stuck with it and I didn't give up, and I was Pro 7, my business fell down a little bit and I was getting paid as a Pro 6. I got back up to Pro 7, then I dropped back down to Pro 6, and I didn't give up and held Pro 7 for a year. And if you can see this, that's the Jeep that is being built presently. That's the actual Jeep. Those are the logos that I've designed to be on the Jeep. And you know this logo right there, it's cut off at the top there a little bit, but you know the little gene up at the top, the little molecule. And if you look a little bit closer at Axio, you can see how it's all broken up. And those are the wheels I'm putting on my Jeep. Now, this Jeep represents freedom, represents adventure. The company also awards somebody with a check. You can get a check. There's several different things, but a check for $25,000. So how would you like me to come up to you and go, hey, check out my check for $25,000. How does it look to you? And it's almost like rubbing it in somebody's face. What's a 25? I mean, look, 5 years ago, $25,000 would have been the world to me. But it's different today. And I wondered, how would I possibly pay the taxes on a Jeep? So most people take the cash, and that's great, and they put it to good use. A lot of people have told me, take the cash, don't take the Jeep. But originally, when they first offered the Jeep, there were 73 or 74 Jeeps awarded all at one time to the Pro 7s and above. And I was back and forth on Pro 7. I was a Pro 7, but I didn't hit it. Was I a little disappointed? A little bit. But it put a fire under my butt to get to work. And so this Jeep, if I pull up to your house and I say, hey, let's go to your friend's place and let's go in my Jeep, and I pull up in the Jeep and someone goes, wow, that's really cool. Where'd you get that? I could say I earned that Jeep in this company. And what would the next question be? How can I get that? But if I show up and say I got a check for $25,000 and I paid off a couple credit cards, they're going to go, so what? I hope that makes sense. The Jeep I picked because it represents freedom, and it represents adventure, and it represents LifeVantage. And we are changing lives by giving people an opportunity to have choices in their life by sharing information. And that's all we're doing. And I tell people, don't be attached to what someone says they would want to do or not want to do. And I tell people, listen, I care about you enough that I want you to see this information that may or may not be for you. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Because everybody has their own high noon. I mean, you never know what's going on in someone's life. But I've literally had people contact me 2 and 3 years later saying, you know what, Michael? I'm ready to join your team now. So I want to open up the call and answer any questions for anybody. But that's my story, and that's part of my journey. And the company is gifting or gracious enough to have me be one of their speakers, God willing, at the Elite Academy in Anaheim, and my Jeep will be on display at Anaheim. So, and there's a possibility I might even have my other car that I wanted for a long time, and my wife told me to go buy my dream car, and that's a Corvette. So that may be on display there too, I hope. So, and that's not to impress you. That's to impress upon what can happen, because I never thought I'd be able to own a Corvette, especially as a massage therapist. But not only will I have a Corvette, I'll have a Jeep, and I also have a new SUV for my son that my wife just drove away with. And, you know, it's so beautiful. The only way I can have the success is by helping you have the success. That's the only way I can do it. That's why on a Sunday, my wife just went to go do some errands. She wanted me to come with, and I said, no, I'm here for my team. But she understands. That's why I told her, before you leave, come bring Mateo so I can show Mateo off a little bit. So anyway.
That's so great, Michael. Yeah. And you already not only got your Jeep for yourself and Wayne from LifeVantage, you also going to buy a car for your months older son, right?
No, we already have a new SUV for the baby because.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, well, because my Corvette does not. You can't put a baby in it. It's only a 2-seater.
I see. Okay, yeah. Roger. Okay, thank you so much, Michael. Let's see, Roger, what questions they might have.